So it was really built around, what is the fair balance between making sure that a corporation had enough money
Mhm.
in return to run the corporation, but as well had to be most profitable to the distributors who were helping to build the brand.
Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. I am so thrilled you're here with us today as we have an incredible guest joining us, Joni, CEO, founder of SeneGence. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much, Becky, for inviting me onto your program. And what I love about you, just even in listening to your greeting, you're so joyful.
Well,
It
thank
makes it
you.
a pleasure to be here just because you're so joyful.
Oh, you are the sweetest. I appreciate that. I feel like, I don't know, we live in a crazy world and sometimes we need a little bit of positivity. And I know that our podcast listeners feel that way, that they're looking for, that voice in their AirPods when they're going about their day to be motivated and think about what's next for their business. So I am excited. I think most people probably know who you are, but why don't you just go ahead and introduce yourself? I know you have built such an iconic brand with SeneGence, and it's been a fun to get a little peek behind the curtain as I've had a chance to work with you all this year. So why don't you just share a little bit about yourself and maybe what inspired you to start SeneGence and make it the brand it is today?
Okay, well, first I have to say most people, that's a big stretch. I mean,
Most
I
of our
think,
listeners, we'll,
yeah,
we'll, we'll go with
okay.
that.
Okay, I'm good with that. Okay, so a long time ago, I had a little boy, a baby, just like most of us.
Mhm.
And, when we're cradling them in our arms, they're playing with your makeup. And I
Yeah,
worked for a cosmetic company, and I was so frustrated that every time I played, which of course I was going to do all day long,
of course.
I had to, if I had an appointment, if I had to run an errand, I had to go fix myself. And I thought, why can't someone figure out how to make good products that
Yeah.
will stay put until you
Yeah.
take them off? And so if they're going to stay put, they have to be really good for your skin. And so, time went on and I became a single mother
Uh-huh.
with literally nothing to lose because I had, helped my then husband start many companies. And I
Mhm.
left my marriage with my son and $7 in my pocket. All I wanted was physical and legal custody of my son, and I would, I'll just go somewhere else and start over. And
Yeah.
so I had nothing to lose. And instead of, trying to figure out a career, I thought, you know what? I think because I have nothing to lose, I'm just going to go get a job on weekends, which I did. I worked at a deli, and I'm
Mhm.
going to go about learning everything I can that I need to know to open a company and produce a product line, a color cosmetic product line for women that would deliver on all these things. I mean, it had to make your skin more beautiful the longer you wore it. It had to protect you from the sun. It had to feed your skin nourishment in order to, help prevent the aging process. It had to live up to its claims, period, because along with that, I also wrote the business plan for the company. And the business plan was not only for the operational part of the company, it was the business plan for women like me, women
Yeah.
like you. If we're going to jump in and in our very valuable spare time, time spent away from family, from your home, from,
Yeah.
vacations, whatever, time away, maybe extra time after work, but nonetheless, time is still valuable. If you're going to spend time helping to build this brand, what do you want in return? So
Mhm.
I literally wrote the distributor compensation plan for myself. I said,
Yeah.
okay, if I'm going to do that as a single mother,
Yeah.
I have to have a compensation plan where I can guarantee that I can pay my mortgage, that I can pay
Hmm.
rent, that I can pay for my son's school, that we can put food on the table, I can pay the electrical bill. So it was really built around, what is the fair balance between making sure that a corporation had enough money in return to run the corporation, but as well had to be most profitable to the distributors who were helping to build the brand. So it was
Yeah.
very distributor driven
Yeah.
and focused. And we haven't changed the compensation plan. In
I
fact, we've just enhanced the operations to make it easier for distributors to accumulate more and more customers. And that's really what the motivation was behind not only the company, but the product line. And of course, always with the tagline, it's got to be built on truth because we
hmm
all know if we've been there, done that, we all know unless built on truth, it will not stand the test of time. And there was no way I was going to risk putting my time and effort, my
Yeah.
life, literally year after year after year of your life, into an effort that would not last.
Well, it has lasted. Then it
Yes.
continues to last. I
Yes.
think at conference, I even heard you share at seminar, distributor focus is a big part of what we do, those exact words. And what you've built is incredible. I think you're making it sound real easy here on the podcast, but I know that there's been years and years and years in the making. Do you feel like there was a moment, maybe a turning point moment, when you kind of just knew, like, we're onto something here? This is something big. Or do you feel like you knew that from the beginning? Or was there any moment that you were kind of like, this is it? I figured this out.
No, I knew from the beginning that it
Yeah.
would be great. I knew that for a couple of different reasons. I'll give you some examples. The chemist who I
Mhm.
had helped me develop the product was an angel. I could not raise the money. For some reason, no one would give a single woman with no assets $4.3 million, which is what the estimate was to start up the company. So instead, in his laboratory, he whipped up some product and had some tubes in his warehouse that he filled them in. And then I took them to the LA Woman Show and
Okay.
started showing women. And of course, I had no idea what I'm doing. So I put it on my lips. I'm rubbing my lips really hard to every woman who walked by, and they were just God stop. They were like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh,
Yeah.
what do you have on your lips? And they literally come up and rub my lips. And that's when we started wearing our stripes on our
The
hands.
stripes.
Okay,
Yes.
stripes are the way to go. So they could rub your hand, the back of your hand as hard
Not
as
your
you
face.
wanted to, instead of stretching out your lips. Anyway, so that was a clue. But 9 months later, we moved into our first office complex.
Okay.
So I did this out of my home for the
hmm
first 9 months. And then 9 months later, we moved. And from that point on, I hired a film crew to come in and begin to document. We have amazing footage and pictures from the get-go of
Yeah.
decorating our very first corporate facility all the way up through today. Everything we do is documented just because we knew it was going to be a fantastic journey. And, one day, for some reason, a great study. So
hmm
that was interesting. And in fact, we have had documents written up about the company and taught in business schools at some colleges here in
Oh.
the United States. But, Becky, I attribute that to just making sure we're product focus
hmm
driven in that for the women who are helping to build this brand, we've made them a promise every single product that we develop in this company is really going to work. In other
Yeah.
words, you're never going to have to worry about trying to learn fancy sales techniques or sales psychology because people are going to take you at your word. They're going to be able to see the results. And with
hmm
lip sense and any of our color cosmetics that go on your face, of course, you can see that instantly because it doesn't go off. It doesn't come off until you take it off. So you get that instant feedback. But then in a short time, as you begin to use it, you start seeing changes in your skin and
hmm
how beneficial it is to your skin compared to, what was found in the market back in the day. People don't know this, but we were probably, and I have to say probably, because my attorney said you can't actually prove this, Joni. We were probably the first clean beauty company. And that was back, really when it
Before
was
clean beauty
developing.
was even a term, probably.
Right.
At that,
And
yeah.
right. And peptides. I mean, we've used our peptides since, for 23 years now. And people are just getting the hang of what peptides and exosomes and, certain other beneficial ingredients like hyaluronic acids or all of that. I
Mhm.
mean, this was all in our stuff from the beginning.
That
And
is
it is true,
amazing.
the longer you use it, the more beautiful your skin becomes. So when you have what I consider, I guess, a point of pride and
Mhm.
understanding of knowing that it was going to be successful. I can take it all the way back to then, knowing that every single decision we made, making sure the products were just something that had never been seen in the marketplace before, and the compensation plan and our promise to our distributors to always keep them first in mind for building that brand, as opposed to having all the money pour into a corporation and sticking with that and knowing that we make the decisions year after year based on those promises. It was easy to predict that this
Yeah.
was going to be amazing, and it still is. It's interesting how that as time goes on and business goes through cycles. We go through
Mhm.
growth cycles, and I would say those growth cycles are based on technology, which has
Mhm.
been, challenging to many, many, many of us from one level of technology to the next. And for instance, Becky, back in the day, we're one of the first companies that had online ordering.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, back in the
The
day.
carbon copy paper forms were
Well,
the
we had
only way
that.
for a long time.
And
Yeah.
then we immediately went to phone, and then we went to
Yep.
online, and we put in I remember going to DSA meetings
Uh-huh.
where companies were struggling with how do we get our distributors online. And Ben and I were at the meeting, Ben, my husband,
Yeah.
and said, well, we put in a drop dead date. And on that drop dead date, if you didn't order online, you weren't getting our product. And they were like, oh my gosh, how did you do that?
Yeah.
And what happened? And we
Yeah.
said, well, we wouldn't suggest it for everyone because other people were much bigger than we were at the time, and we didn't have as much to lose if people were still trying to figure out the online thing. But big companies like in the day, Mary Kay, Amway,
Yeah.
Newskin, if they had implemented something like that and their sales went to half, that could be very dangerous for their companies. But we weren't that sophisticated at that time. But then, as we're putting those systems in place, we were building our own systems. And
Hmm.
so it became a very big, complicated, organic kind of machine that was running in the background all the time while technology kept improving, 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 improving until we finally got to a point where we had to retire that old
Hmm.
system because there were no platforms or support for them anymore. You were forced into upgrading and updating. And those are some of the cycles that our company has been challenged with going through the business cycles, let alone socio ethical issues that are in the marketplace today that companies like ours deal with over
Yeah.
6 years.
Well, and I feel like, especially right now, we're in that season where a lot of companies are changing and they're looking at business differently. And I think one thing that I found really refreshing, just being a part of seminar and hearing you speak, is just the commitment to the channel and that, you're a very active voice as part of the DSA, and not just here in the US, but in, global DSA organizations, and speaking about how important it is that we protect the mission of this channel and the opportunity that it provides. So anything you would say from that perspective, as, maybe independent distributors or other corporations are listening in, what can we do to collectively bring that voice to the market?
Well, I'll tell you what baffles me,
Yeah.
and that's individuals who stand against a woman paying $25 that she had to scrape together to give
Hmm.
herself an opportunity to start a business of her own.
Yeah.
I mean, what other platform? I look at this as one of the last free platforms. And with
Hmm.
today's tools of online and social media, to be able to take a product or a concept, a service of any kind, where someone else has done all the work, they've done all the trademarks, registration, business rules, structure, operations, whatever, take this wonderful finished product, whatever that is, and
Yeah.
for a very little bit of money, take her own grit and apply her time and her creativity and begin a profitable business so she can support herself and her family and
Hmm.
literally change the course of their life. So
Hmm.
we've had women in our company who have lived in cars.
Yeah.
They and their children have lived in cars, and now they own their own home. Their kids are going to school. They do things during the summer. It's not magic. This woman who made that possible had to go out and work. But
Yeah.
where else could people like that have to turn to give them a chance that if you've got the grit, if you've got the will, if you've got the desire to take with a little help
Hmm.
something and turn it into something that is honest and will pay you fairly in return for your efforts, why wouldn't they want that to happen? I just see that for people who won't allow that to happen, it's a form of control
Yeah.
to make
Interesting.
sure
Yeah.
that people are held down. They're in
Right.
a box. And if they limit, if the more ways they can limit their opportunity, the more control it gives certain factions of those people who might want to monitor our life. There are other laws also that state, well, if you do join one of these companies, you can't buy more than X amount of dollars of their item in the first 30 or 60 days
Hmm.
because you might not succeed or they might be taking advantage of you. As
Right.
if I couldn't figure out whether or not, if I'm selling just a little at a time, if my own efforts and creativity could help me buy more than what this state is now allowing me to buy so that I can make
Right.
even more money for myself because I'm making that. And if I had the chance to make that, I could make a lot more too.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
just, I just don't understand that kind of thought. And what I really think, and I'll
Hmm.
tell you, Becky, you and your
Yeah.
viewers, but I really think for those people who don't understand it, I
Mhm.
think they themselves do not have the capability
Mm.
of doing it themselves. And therefore, it is impossible for them to imagine it. And that's what I want to say to all of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Well said. I'm right there with you. I mean, this industry has changed my life, my family's life, and that's why I do what I do. And it's pretty incredible to see how many people that are bringing negativity to the channel or skepticism or even from an advocacy and legal perspective fighting against it. So I love that SeneGence is actively involved and in that piece of it, but also around the education. And, I wanted to touch on that as well because SeneGence is one of the only companies I know that really invests in certification programs. And I was able to support and help the direct selling certification program that we just launched, but you have certifications and all sorts of other things inside of SeneGence as well. So as you develop this business model and this vision for the distributors at SeneGence, why has that education and certification been an important element of the business model?
Well, to me, if you choose this as
Yeah.
a path, then I would think that one would have to go through a process of learning
Hmm.
best practices so they could at least give themselves a chance to succeed, right?
Right.
So why not learn it here? Where skincare, learn skincare here. If
Hmm.
we're offering lashes, learn lashes here, learn how to do that. If
Yeah.
we're talking about cosmetics and having fun with glamour application, why not learn it here? If you're a direct seller,
Yeah.
why not learn it here? Because we can teach best practices. We can teach and fun things like cosmetic artistry, keeping up with the trends. And it's always changing. It's very creative. It's very artsy. And we have beautiful, talented direct seller distributors who are leaders within our company who are very capable of teaching us. So why not take advantage of
Yeah.
the information at our fingertips? And it just makes it fun. It's part of our community. And
Yeah.
again, it's part of that building on truth. We
Right.
don't just try to sell you a product. It's a holistic experience in that we're not selling you a product just for the sake of the product. We're selling you something that is healthy for you, that's good for you, that makes you feel better. You feel more confident in the way you look. You feel confident in the way that you begin to speak to other people about what you're doing
Right.
because you're
Yeah.
getting all the training that goes along
Hmm.
with everything I just said built into this product.
Yeah, I love that. Oh, I love that so much. You're speaking my love language over here. Well, let me ask you this, because I know we only have a few minutes left and I want to be mindful of your time. But if you were to give some advice to a brand new distributor today in the industry that's jumping in, all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, but maybe a little scared or a little nervous about what they're up to, what kind of advice would you give them?
I tell them to buy the products that they love to wear, of
Hmm.
course, and start wearing them, and then start showing their girlfriends face to face in
Okay. Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
Like in person, let your girlfriend try your lip color. I know I'm
Yeah.
probably not supposed to say that, but
Yeah.
let her try it. She
Mhm.
will be wowed.
Yeah.
And guess what? She's going to want to buy it.
Yeah.
So I
As
would,
simple as that, right?
that's right. That's
Wear
how
it,
we
share it.
started.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, letting people try it because we've
Yeah.
been told so many times, oh, this is great. No, that's great. You buy it online, you buy it from a commercial, whether it be, on your phone or on the television, however you're watching any kind of streaming, whatever. And you get it, and it's not what we were told. We're just overloaded with that kind of information. But when you sit
Mhm.
someone down and say, you've got to try this stuff really works, and
Yeah.
show them how to put it on, they will buy it 9 times out of 10. They'll buy it. And that is the fastest way to prove to yourself that these products really work and they're in high demand by other people. And because of that, you start earning money. Now,
Yeah.
I would also get online and say to my
Mhm.
little group of friends and say something like, you guys aren't going to believe this, but yes, I'm going to start selling this because it's amazing. You probably don't believe me, but I'm telling you, I'm going to show you what I'm doing every day, and I'm going to show you the people's reactions I'm putting it on, and and video that. Show it
Yeah.
live on your little page, whatever it is you're doing. And in that way, you're going to have real sales in hand, and
Hmm.
you're going to be building at the same time an audience of people who are watching it and become intrigued and who might begin to order it from you.
I
It's,
love that.
I think that is the absolute best way to start. Start
Hmm.
with products you love in person and online.
I love it. Oh, so good. And I think what I'm hearing you say too is like you got to get out there and do it and go tell people about it, right? Like the most successful people are the ones that are taking action and moving forward and not just keeping the secret to themselves or the box stashed in the corner of their bathroom, but actually getting out there, connecting with people, getting their reactions. And I love that kind of halo effect of being able to show it online. So incredible. Well, Joni, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing your knowledge, your expertise, your commitment to your company and the industry as a whole. I feel like this was such a treat to sit down and have a conversation with you. I am wishing you the ongoing success for years and years to come as you continue to really build this iconic brand that so many have grown to love.
Well, thank you very much, Becky. It's been my honor, and we hope to have you back helping us with our
Love that.
certifications in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you, Joni.
Bye, dear.
Bye. This episode is sponsored by CintShare. CintShare is the #1 social media scheduler for direct sellers and loved by creators in any industry. It's truly your one-stop shop for all things social. Join hundreds of thousands of social sellers and entrepreneurs who turn to CintShare for free social media training and resources. Get started today with your free 30-day trial at moderndirectseller.com/CintShare.